We have an amazing panel today, as usual, and we're just going to get off right away. I'm going to introduce you to the panel, or let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into a conversation about outreach. Google+, do we take our posts and share them on other platforms so that people know all the goodness that happens here? So we're going to start by introducing Bill. Bill, say hello, please.
Thank you, Ray. I have been working on a book about grassroots advocacy, but I'm now actually turning that a little bit to do a study of how my wife has convinced me to sacrifice my next 3 major vacations to redo her kitchen.
Let me know how that goes. Hi, David. How are you?
I'm doing fine, but I didn't quite understand that segue, Bill. You'll have to explain it to me. I'm the other David. There's another David to my right, and I'm also wave to the crowd, David. And I am also known as Small Biz David, having an identity crisis right now on Google+.
Okay, let us know how the therapy goes with that. Hello, David. How are you?
Yes, I'm the other David. David Schwartz with Brand Education. I like to work with brands to help them take their anchor marketing strategy and develop a digital strategy for them, and using some of the fun gadgets that are out there, the Google Pluses of the world, and really see where we can go with that.
Thanks for that,
Thank
David. Thank you. Hello, Jessica.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having this, because I always enjoy my Tuesday mornings. I'm Jess Duell, and I'm from Red Direction, and I also do some digital strategy, and I focus more on the messaging side of the digital strategy and the customer interaction. So it's always fun to see how things like Google Plus fit into our into the discussions.
Thanks very much, Randy.
Hi, I'm Randy Bowden. I'm a marketer, and I'll say good afternoon to the people on the East Coast, because good morning, Jessica. It's past noon here, so but I've always enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Thanks much. Sherry from California. Good morning.
Hi, Sherry here. I'm a regular of what do we call it now?
Oh, the G plus lunch bunch. Yeah.
G plus lunch bunch. So
That's
hashtag
it.
G plus lunch bunch, and I enjoy our conversations.
Thanks a lot. So we're going to go right into the topic today. As I said before, we're talking about basically Google Plus outreach, and I'm going to ask the panel what their strategy is about it. Personally, I do send my public Google Plus post out to Twitter, and I use a software called, actually I just have it over here, I'm going to share it with you. One sec here. It's this it here. It's called Friends Plus Me. Anybody ever hear? Anybody hear of it?
No.
No. It can. Actually, I should blue box that. It's basically a program that will distribute your Google Plus post, public post, to whatever platforms you want. It's Facebook or Twitter or whatever. It's cool. I've only started kind of playing with it. I'm not a big fan of automation, and it's not really. You don't schedule it as such. As soon as you make the post, it goes out. So it's not an automation app. So let's get rid of that. And we have somebody typing there. Can someone mute their mic, please? Okay. So anybody else? Any other ideas? Not even if you don't have to use an app. I'm just basically your strategy, your ideas about sharing posts on other platforms.
Ray, can you monitor whether you're getting clicks or not? Because your Google Plus posts are pretty detailed, and when it goes to Twitter, I imagine it's truncated. Do you know how much of a reaction you get, like your success rate with this?
I don't do it all that often. I've checked. Sorry, because I'm still on screen share for some reason. No, I look at my Twitter stream, look at my insights and stuff, and I haven't seen any kind of boost or any kind of remarkable change on it.
I think the metric you would be looking for, Sherry, would be the cumulative of all those shares out there. I mean, that's what you're asking, right? I mean, if you.
No, I'm curious about how inclined are people to click on the link to see the complete post. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm. Trying to.
Well, I think that's probably a misnomer that's going in the social space right now, and I think we were talking about a little bit of that before we got online. Is there's just such a volume of push content out there. People are just grabbing links and pushing them, and not reading them. So that is a hard metric to measure on the social channels. You can't really get a grasp of that. Your measurement is when you're bringing them back to your site. If you're sharing an article and it's an article that was out of Adweek, why do you care if somebody clicked on that link? It's not really going to give you any money to your cash. The measurement you're after is the affinity that you're building with somebody. Hopefully they're coming back to your site and you're able to engage with them and build that relationship there.
But it's important that you optimize the early part of this, if you want to call it engagement funnel or sales funnel. So when we share something via Hootsuite, we get a Hootlet, or what is it, HTLY, or the other one, shortener, and that allows us to see how many people are engaging. So earlier on top of the funnel, again, if you want to look at it in terms of a funnel, you want to optimize that part because before you worry about the bottom part. Because if the top is not optimized, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint where the problem is. And this is a problem I have with when I see people automating sharing of their Facebook posts to Twitter, because it just doesn't have any context. It's not a complete thought, but I'm curious whether this application allows you to optimize that top of the funnel area, because I've seen Ray's Google Plus posts are very optimized. He has a title that clearly indicates what the post is about, and then the description. Facebook posts don't tend to be like that. So I'm curious whether you see there is a difference, whether Google Plus posts that are originating from somebody like Ray, who's optimizing it, whether that makes a difference in terms of people wanting to click. Does that application give you an opportunity to look at who has clicked? Ray.
I'm going to talk about it. You're going to see the screen share because I can't get out of it. So the thing is, the optimization only works on Google Plus. The formatting and the bolding and I guess even the keywords to some extent. So if it's on another platform, that's not going to work in terms of searchability, people finding it, that kind of thing.
No, I mean, how many people? Okay. How does this extended post that you put on Google Plus, how does it appear on Twitter? It's the title, then it's the
no. None of the formatting appears on other platforms.
But there is a title.
Yes.
Okay, so the title is talking about what this post is about, and then there's a link, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
does
same thing if you did it from your blog post.
Yeah, but I don't think it's always true. It's like I think each post you do, if you're looking at individual platforms. For example, I'm a blatant spammer, which I admit to being, and I take the mantle with pride.
And we welcome you anyway.
Yeah, really. we know that amongst each other. I constantly use, based on Randy's feedback, I'm now using Hootsuite as well as Buffer, as well as my own plugins in my WordPress blog. So I got stuff going on all over the place. But what I'm finding from my own experience is you have to kind of customize each message to each platform. So if I'm using Hootsuite or Buffer, and I'm doing a kind of a timed or a scheduled posting of some kind, I will always, and I'm sure we all do the same thing. I'm not sure I'm understanding your question, Jerry, but I always will customize the Twitter to be something that engages or grabs a grabber, And it might be very different from the headline that I might have going out to Facebook, which might be also different from LinkedIn, which might be different from what goes to Facebook. They all might have the same content, but different grabbers or something to capture that top of the sales funnel you mentioned, something different to capture that attention. So I think everyone's customizing that to some degree. If they're simply taking a RSS feed and feeding it out to their network, it's not only naive, but I think very ineffective.
Okay. Thank you.
Jerry, one of the questions I was wondering when you were talking about that is how much are you seeing through ripple effect, and if you ever track to see your posts to see how they spread, and if you've played around with that at all, and curious anybody else's thoughts.
No, I haven't played around with the ripples.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't share as much as everybody else does. I'm very yeah, my activity on Google Plus is mostly centered around my Hangouts.
Okay.
I don't share nearly as much as you guys do, so I don't think I would make a good case study for looking at effectiveness of ripples. Maybe I should spend more time on it, but I haven't.
Well, I think everyone's got a different strategy that's out there. I mean, if your strategy is to build it around your Hangouts, then that's the purpose. You know, I was wondering also if you were going to get to the point with the way you're posting and optimizing your posts on Google Plus is, again, keeping in mind, you know, for search and putting in as many different, you know, triggers out there to kind of give it a little bit longer shelf life and put it out there to capture the attention and the benefits that Google Plus offers versus, say, Facebook. And I think that's one of the things to keep in mind as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing, but also I think the difficulty with understanding what Google Plus can do for you is that each one of us can all sit here with a different strategy that we're trying to achieve, whether it's for us as individuals, and certainly for every client we have a little bit of a different angle that we want to pursue, and that makes it challenging, but also, you know, makes it a nice opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. You want me to answer or somebody else?
I want to go back and say something, and I agree with what Bill said about and we've talked about the fire hosing and the effects of that, and there is a supported argument about automation that, you know, I'm not a big fan of automation, but I understand it needs to be in the mix somewhat. There, you have to automate some, but some just overdo it. And if you're just scattergunning links out there, just throwing links out there, I don't really see the benefit of it. But David Schwartz, what he was talking about and measuring the ripple, even on Twitter, each one of these platforms, you can go in and look at, you know, if I share a tweet and it's my content, and I can track how many people do that, and I can see how many people from their share retweeted my content. So I can touch each one of those and go back and interact them. Back to the measurement, though, and what I hear a lot and what I see get lost a lot is everybody starts looking at that top line growth and they're talking about, oh, I'm adding, and I never hear them say, well, yeah, how many did you lose, though? So you got to take that, you know, churn rate into it. They're always talking about the top line, but they leave out the equation of the bottom line. So if you don't put that bottom line in there, then it'll be masked. You know, you got this, but if I had a 15% growth, but you also lost 6%, well, you didn't have a 15% growth. You know, and a lot of people, and that's what I see a lot in the social space. I gain Twitter followers all the time, but I'm also losing Twitter followers all the time because they get disinterested, they close accounts, they whatever, they go away, or I might block them or take them out because of whatever reason. But, you know, so I always look at it, I like slow, steady growth, and I'm gonna go back to say that what I want to do is push my content, watch the people that are engaging with my content, get them back to my blog, hopefully interact with them, and at some point in time I can do business with them.
It's a great point, Randy, that's out there. I know you're coming with that turn rate too, because we were both listening to one of the same podcasts that were out there that talked about that, and that's so important. Is we do sometimes get a little bit blinded with some of the analytics, and one of the other points I pulled out from that, which was Mark Schaefer's the podcast on Grow, was talking also about, talking to your audience a little bit and not just, blindly having faith in analytics and looking at these numbers and, asking somebody, hey, is this helpful? Is this working out for you? Are you getting something from this? And, that's a bigger picture of the relationship. I think we all agree that, having hundreds of thousands of followers is wonderful, but to have 10 of the right kinds that are actually ones you're going to do business with and they're going to help you are the ones that are more valuable for you.
Jessica, can you talk?
Yes, I was muted before. So, and that one of the things that I hear us talking a little bit around is the fact that it almost is like, what is the purpose of the content, right? Is the purpose to educate? Is the purpose to connect? Is the purpose to do something else? And how we present those may be different to achieve different results. It's not like we have a strategy and we're going to go. We may have a whole bunch of micro strategies around different parts of our sales funnel or different parts of the target markets that we're trying to reach. I hear that being said. What do you guys think about that?
I think you're right. I mean, it depends on what the individual business is or service is and what they're going to get out of it. I'm a consultant, marketer, advertising guy, right? I'm looking for engaging with businesses to help them grow. Jessica's not my customer. Now, Jessica and I might collaborate on some kind of job or something, so it's beneficial to me to have a relationship with her, but I don't view Jessica as a potential client for mine, really, right? So I mean, you gotta look at that. Like Sherry's potential client, customer, viewer is somebody that's wanting to come to her hangouts and learn whatever that subject matter she's delivering. That's who her client is. So you got to measure it that way. So back to what I said, I engage, and yes, you got, like what David said, you got to engage and have conversation and be that. The numbers that I see, and you're right. I got a lot of stuff out of Tom Webster, but a lot of stuff out of that Tom Webster speech in Knoxville last year is where I got a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, David. And it was, you don't, in the social space, you hear these numbers thrown around. Six months ago, it was, or a year ago, we're going to have a tweet chat, and people started talking about all these damn impressions out there. We're flying, man. And I mean, like, what is that number worth? It's not, it doesn't really do anything. It's a number, but you can make numbers do anything you want. You know that, Sherry. You can play with numbers any way you want to. The real number, and I'll just cut to the chase and go back to the simple Bill Vick way. Dollars in the bank.
Or influence that you exert.
Well, the influence that you exert depends on what you're trying to do, right? Exactly. How you measure that dollar in the bank.
Okay, but you still, in order to measure the dollar in the bank, first you have to get people to interact with your content. But I'm not going to take this discussion any further. I don't think we should, because I'm just talking. My concern was, my main concern with automating sharing has to do with context. And I see a lot of people sharing their updates from Facebook, and the context is not suitable for Twitter. So my curiosity was with this app and whether
there's a lot of half-assed people out there doing half-assed work, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't pay attention to that.
My curiosity had to do with the way this app helps Ray share stuff, because I'm wondering if even though it's a Google Plus post and it doesn't have the context of Google Plus on Twitter, my curiosity is, now that there is a title, whether that would entice people to click through the link to come to Google Plus.
Yeah, and
I'm not talking about metrics and measuring dollars. My curiosity had to do with that particular app and whether that makes a difference with respect to, because the purpose, the way I understand the original intent of sharing your Google Plus content outside with a link is to get them over to Google Plus. And I'm curious as to how successful that effort is using this kind of automation.
Well, let me ask you to be what's the benefit if that's your benefit is to get them to the Google Plus platform? What is that going to? What's the benefit of that?
Oh, for sure, it's Hangouts.
What is the benefit of that?
No, you said Ray does a post, or I do a post, and then I share it by the app that he was sharing or demonstrating, and it goes over to Twitter. And the question you're asking is, okay, if it's on Twitter, are they going to come to Google Plus and read that? Well, my answer to that would be yes, they're going to come to that, but it's not necessarily to get them to come to the Google Plus or the Facebook or the everything. It's to get the engagement with that potential customer client, wherever that platform is.
For me, it makes a difference because I want people to come and watch my Hangout. So
well, I understand that totally, Sherry. But your enticement is that you're building a relationship with your audience, your potentials out there, and you're bringing them to that spot. They come there if they're going to find it savory and engage with you, then that's the hook. Yes. I think you would benefit yourself to put your Hangouts that you do as in many nooks and crannies as you can to try to drive them.
I do.
You don't know if it's not going to work unless you do it.
Okay, can I add my 2 cents?
I don't know. Yeah, yes, go ahead. Even though we can't see you.
No, I know, and no one gets to see my new vest or anything. So I mean, that's too bad. So because I've been listening and then still trying to get the screen share thing, it's just not happening. But I've heard this problem before, and that's the way it goes. My strategy is not. I treat Google Plus like a blog. I mean, it's my next best blog thing. So if I'm not necessarily evangelizing Google Plus. That's not my motive. My primary motive is if I take the time to do a public post on Google Plus, I want to share that post. And if I can get them to come, and sometimes I don't, this post, I share a lot more on Google Plus than I do my own blog. I do basically one major blog a week on my own site, and then I write for other ones. But so I'm not there all the time. Whereas every day I write something on Google Plus. So, and because all the SEO juice and all that kind of stuff is still there, as if it was a blog, I want to share that on other sites. And that's why I share my Google Plus on Twitter, as an example. I don't do it so much on Facebook, but definitely on Twitter, because that's the stream, that's the broadcast stream. So that's my strategy for doing that. Now, if they come over to Google Plus and they say, check out my post, and they go, oh, look what's happening here, man. This is kind of cool. Great. I love that. But my primary motivation is to have my content shared with my friends or my followers on Twitter.
Okay. But for them to see the content, they'd have to click. So are you...
Yeah. The same if I had a title on my own blog post. If they're interested in the title, they're going to click it. I don't think it has anything to do whether it comes from
So
Google
is that behaving when you share a post from Google Plus using this app? Is that behaving like your blog, you think?
Exactly the same. The only thing you may see different if I use that Friends Plus app is that you'll see F plus in the URL link.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Ray, and I guess it's for the group at large. If you look at the primary networks, Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, that's my primaries, and I'm sure there's other secondaries. But of those 4 primaries, do you post from Google Plus to them or from them to Google Plus? And then second part of that same question, are the groups you have on those networks homogeneous? Are they the same kinds of profiles, people's demographics, or are they different?
Wow. When you're talking about groups, are you saying meaning followers?
Followers, networks, supporters, friends, whatever the terminology is. Example, number-wise, I've got, I don't know, maybe 20,000 people on LinkedIn that are contacts. I've got 20,000 followers on Facebook. I've got 5,000 followers or friends or contacts, how you define them on Facebook. On Google Plus, I've got about 5,000, but I find very, very different numbers on identical content going to those 4 different groups. Very, very different response based on the content. On some kinds of content, I'll have overwhelming response from Twitter, and it's 10 to 1 over others. On other types of content, I'll get the same kind of ratios from Facebook or from LinkedIn. So I'm just wondering for the group, when you measure this, is it going, the content going from to, meaning from Google Plus to other networks, or from the networks or your blog back to Google Plus, and then is the kind of person that your customer, the kind of person you're trying to influence, attract, or interact with, engage, are they different on those networks? Are they same profile? Mostly
different, but mostly the same. Just depends. I mean, it depends on the makeup. I would say, and you've obviously built your Facebook audience to a certain extent, but my engagement on the Google Plus platform that I have is probably a little bit deeper, a little bit different than anything that was happening on Facebook. Facebook is still the dominant player with memes and stuff like that is just polluted. So back to what we were talking about earlier about groups, I've got certain groups that are outside of the marketing fellowship that I share stuff to that people that are in the marketing fellowship never see. I mean, so it just depends on how you're directing those communications.
I'm going to answer that last question first also, which is I see a little bit of a difference of what I will share based upon the network. So LinkedIn, I'm going to share probably more top-level stuff because the people I see that are on there are not as active. Whereas Twitter, I'm going to share probably the most complex kind of theories and ideas and most recent news that's out there. I think you can do the same thing on Google+. Facebook, again, I think it's people that are there, and I'm going to share different stuff on my brand page than I would on my personal page. And so I'm going to take into consideration the content, the content I'm sharing, and put it into context and say, hey, is this going to educate somebody on LinkedIn for them to realize that there's better ways and other ways to market themselves and how to use more of a content marketing strategy or how to get more out of social media or whatever, versus then if I'm going to be on Twitter where I have a assumption that the majority of my followers that are on Twitter already understand what's going on, and they're looking for deeper insight and looking for a little bit more of theory as opposed to kind of blocking and tackling. They're going a little bit deeper in their playbook.
But I think those dynamics are changing, David. Wouldn't you say? I mean,
I think so.
As Google Plus is starting to grow, I've started seeing. I've noticed that because of connections from Facebook or Gmail or something like that, people that are whatever on Facebook, they're starting to migrate over to Google Plus, and then all of a sudden you start seeing posting the same kind of stuff and the repetitive type things. Aren't you seeing that proliferation?
I think that's true. I think unfortunately we still have those blasters that are out there that still pollute the grounds. The waters are getting polluted by the people who are just realizing, hey, here's another medium. I was doing it on Facebook, then it became Twitter, then now it's Google Plus, and I can just shoot stuff out there. Fortunately, what's nice is we are gaining more control over how we can filter that stuff out. But there's still the people, which are great examples for those that are trying to do a deeper strategy and are doing more than just pushing it one way. So I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
And then the groups, and the circles become very critical in your strategy, right?
Absolutely.
So I mean that's you have to pay attention and list on Twitter. I mean, if it wasn't for list on Twitter,
your eyes would go cross-eyed.
Well, that's exactly the point I wanted to make from Bill's question, is that there are so many variables in that question in terms of, because I don't play to the same audience in all those platforms. For instance, I mean, even though I have almost everybody I follow on all those platforms, I have on my Google Plus circles, specific messages and stuff reach different people, and there's, again, the variables are incredible. It depends on their privacy settings, their share settings, their notification settings, and each of those changes on each of those platforms. So yeah, who I reach on Google Plus is going to be totally different, even though I have the same people there, than I will reach if I address them or share a link on Twitter or on Facebook.
And there's another metric that you can't identify. I don't think you can identify. Say Facebook. You know, you could be connected with somebody on Facebook, but they have your feed not showing up. In other words, they just, you know, they go in there. You're still friends with them or whatever, but they just check that so your stuff doesn't show up. And that's what happens. I mean, the spammers or the generators or something like that, after it gets so much, you just, hey, I'm tired of seeing this, and you just, you know, you don't defriend them or anything, but you just block their stories. And if it, you know, if they come to mind or something, you might want to go visit them on their site or something like that, but you'll never see their stories. You know, I don't think you can identify that, right? I don't think Bill can tell that I've blocked his feed on my Facebook page, and I haven't done that, Bill.
Oh, thank you. But one of the things you said before, Randy, I want to come back to, because really, I've been sitting here thinking about it, and you're so absolutely right. It's not just about the reach, it's about I'm going to call it containment. It's not who you get, it's who you keep. It's not just gaining new customers, contacts, people of influence, it's keeping. And I think a lot of us, I know I've lost sight of that. I've gotten so hung up on the growth curve that I've forgotten the other side of that curve and what the real ultimate reach is. It's a very interesting problem.
Yeah, and I think that's inherent to the business over the years. That's what happens to a lot of businesses. That's what, you know, it's always about growth, top line growth, and that's what happened. I mean, we got so focused on that customer service went in the tank, you know, and the beauty thing of these social networks is it does bring that element of social back in. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, fan, and he will tell you, you know, you got to engage and talk, you know, because everybody on this panel is now equal to Adweek. You know, you've got a publishing platform, you know, so if I'm putting something out there and it's not worth a damn, and somebody goes, you know, or for whatever reason I step on Jessica's scarf because I say, hey Jessica, that's an ugly scarf today, and she says, well, you know, and she just starts blaming me, you got to react to that. And I think people don't, because you'll start losing. If you're not paying attention, you're only focused up here, you got to pay attention to what's going on the bottom side.
Yep.
That's a very, very good point. And again, the whole growth thing is, there's a lot of, you know, people writing about that now, is that everybody has to change their focus from growing but into retaining who they have and nurturing that. So I'm going to sign off now. I'm sorry you guys can't see me, but there's a lovely view of the old port in Montreal, which is appropriate for our Thanksgiving, and we had a great Thanksgiving, by the way. So we're going to sign off now, and thanks again, and come by next week, and maybe you'll see me, maybe not. Who knows? Take care.
Thanks.